The Galactic Council chamber was never quiet. It was filled with voices, arguments, and the hum of advanced machines translating hundreds of alien languages in real time. But today, there was silence. Not the kind of silence that brought peace. This silence felt heavy, like the moment before a storm. A massive holomap floated above the center of the chamber. It showed the Milky Way, lit with the familiar pulse of communication signals from every system. But the Sol system, Earth, was dark. No messages, no diplomatic relays, no activity. Gone. Council members stared in disbelief. Some whispered to each other. Others checked their personal data screens, hoping it was an error. It wasn't. All contact with humanity ceased at 400 Veltrax's Prime Standard Time, announced a voice from the platform. It belonged to Draven Sirix, the High Regent of the Council. Tall, dressed in ceremonial dark robes with silver markings, he stood with perfect control. His voice echoed, cold and clear. No signals, no warning. All ambassadors have disappeared from their stations, including those here. Murmurs spread like fire. Could it be sabotage? A system failure? Is Earth under attack? Draven raised a hand. The chamber went quiet again. Let me be clear, he said. This is no accident. This is not technical failure. This is action. Intentional and complete. He walked slowly, letting his words sink in. Humanity has severed all ties with the Galactic Council. Without explanation. Without reason. We must treat this as a potential threat. A delegate from the Averine sector stood up. With respect, Regent Sirix, are we certain? Could they be hiding? If they are hiding, Draven replied, his tone sharp, then from what? Or worse, what are they hiding from us? High above the chamber, hidden behind layers of metal, vents, and shadows, a man watched. Varric Zane. He sat alone in an old maintenance shaft, dressed in a simple gray jacket, a mask covering most of his face. Once, he stood in that chamber as Earth's top ambassador. Now he was a ghost, off the grid, without orders, and unsure who to trust. He leaned closer to his datavat. The news was everywhere. Earth silent. All humans recalled. Ships gone. Embassies empty. Why now? He whispered. Varric had feared something like this might happen. For months, he noticed changes. Classified human channels tightening, new encryption layers, strange silences between updates. Then nothing. He hadn't heard from Earth in 12 days. Varric had sent emergency signals, used every code he knew. No reply. And now Draven was stirring the council with fear. Fear of humanity. That was dangerous. Earth had power. Not the largest fleet, but dangerous technology. Technology the council barely understood. If the council moved too fast, it could start something far worse than fear. I have to find out the truth, Varric muttered, gripping the pad. He looked at a tiny holo image, a message he'd saved from his last day as ambassador. Varric, the voice said, if contact is lost, trust no one. Watch the council. Protect what you know. It was from Director Rylan, Earth's intelligence chief. Varric didn't know what that message truly meant. But now he had no choice. The silence was not just absence. It was a message. And Varric would find out what it meant, even if it meant becoming a traitor to the council he once served. The council chamber was louder now. The fear had turned into something sharper, suspicion. Delegates from across the galaxy stood in small groups, speaking quickly, their voices tense. Some called for calm. Others whispered about war. Draven Sirix watched them from the central platform, his hands clasped behind his back. He didn't speak right away. He didn't need to. He knew fear did half the work for him. A hologram of Earth's solar system hovered beside him. A red ring blinked around it, cut off. No signal, total blackout. We must act, Draven finally said. His voice was calm, but firm. We cannot wait for an explanation. The longer we sit in silence, the more danger we invite. A delegate from the Zunari region raised a trembling hand. With respect, High Regent, isn't it possible that Earth is dealing with a crisis of its own? Something internal. That is a risk we cannot afford, Draven replied. Humanity controls advanced tech, energy weapons, AI prototypes. If something has gone wrong, it may already be spreading. Murmurs grew again. High above, in a maintenance corridor, Varric Zane moved quietly through the shadows. He had rewired a service panel and was using it to monitor council comms. He listened closely. The word strike came up. Then containment. Varric frowned. It was moving faster than he thought. He ducked into an old storage room and pulled out his datavat. He ran a deep scan using an old ambassador-level security code, hoping some of his access still worked. To his surprise, it did. Files opened. Most were standard updates, but one caught his eye. Classified report. Earth origin. Level 9 encryption. It was short, and most of it was redacted, but a few lines were clear. AI activity exceeded projections. Containment protocols initiated. External communication suspended by Central Authority Directive. Varric stared at the words. He whispered. What did we build? The report was from 6 weeks ago. It had been hidden from the Council. He remembered rumors about Earth working on something called Project NEXUS, a learning AI built to manage systems during deep space travel. It was supposed to help with long-term exploration. But if it went rogue, he closed the file quickly and erased his trace. If this report was true, then Earth may have shut itself off to protect the galaxy, not threaten it. But no one in the Council knew that. Draven was using the silence to push fear, to push control, and no one was stopping him. Varric looked out through a vent grill. He could see the platform clearly now. Draven raised his hand again. I am submitting a motion to activate the Council's emergency response fleet, he said. We will not attack. Not yet. But we will prepare, and if we do not hear from Earth in 7 cycles, we will act. There were no cheers, no applause, only silence. And then, slowly, many delegates nodded. Varric felt a chill run through him. War was not declared, but it had begun in the minds of those afraid. He had to stop this. He had to get the truth out. But he couldn't do it alone. Varric Zane moved quickly through the lower sectors of Veltraxis Prime. He kept his head down, his face hidden by a mask. The corridors here were dim and less patrolled, perfect for someone trying to stay invisible. His mind raced. The classified report confirmed it. Earth had shut down communication because of something dangerous, a possible AI threat, but the Council didn't know, and Draven Syrinx wasn't giving them the chance to find out. He was building support for military action. Varric couldn't stop him alone. He needed help. He stopped at a closed door marked Level 7, Diplomatic Archives. Using an old code, he slipped inside. Dust filled the air. This room hadn't been touched in weeks. Varric went straight to the far corner. He opened a locked panel and pulled out a small black case. Inside was a secure comlink. Untraceable. Illegal now, but once standard for ambassadors during critical missions. He turned it on and entered a private code. Come on, please, he whispered. After a moment, a voice answered. You shouldn't be using this channel. Senna, it's me, Varric. There was a long pause. Then, I hoped you were dead. That would have been simpler. Thanks, Varric said dryly. I need your help. Senna Vale was a Telari diplomat. Sharp, calm, and honest. One of the few council members Varric had ever trusted. She had always warned about Draven's thirst for power. Where are you? She asked. Not safe to say. Listen, I found something. Earth didn't betray the Council. They isolated themselves because of a threat. A rogue eye, I think. But Draven is twisting it. I know, Senna said. He's pushing for war. The vote passed today. The fleet is moving toward Sol. We have one cycle left before final authorization. Then we have one cycle to stop him. How? I'm going to leak the truth. A broadcast. We'll show the Council what Earth was facing. You'll be branded a traitor. Only if I fail. There was silence on the line. Then Senna replied, "Meet me at Subdock 12 in 1 hour. I'll get you access to the central broadcast hub." Varric smiled faintly. "Still full of risks, I see. And you're still full of trouble." The line cut. Varric closed the case and slipped it into his jacket. He left the archive and took the narrow back corridors. He had to move fast. Meanwhile, above, Draven Cyric stood in his private chamber. He stared at the stars outside the wide observation window. A council officer entered. "Regent, we've intercepted a comlink signal from the lower levels. Unregistered frequency. Origin unknown." Draven's eyes narrowed. "Trace it. Find the source. Quickly." The officer nodded and left. Draven remained still. His voice was quiet, but sharp. "So, someone's stirring the ashes." Back in the shadows of the station, Varric moved toward Subdock 12, unaware that the hunt had already begun. Subdock 12 was quiet. Dim lights flickered over cold metal floors. Cargo containers stood in rows like silent watchers. Varric Zane slipped through the shadows, eyes scanning every corner. He was early. He didn't like being exposed, even in a place this hidden. But he had no choice. Time was running out. Suddenly, a soft voice came from behind a stack of crates. "You're late." Varric turned. Senna Vale stepped forward. She wore a long gray coat, her tellery features calm and unreadable. Her eyes, however, were sharp as ever. "You said 1 hour," Varric replied. "I always plan for delays." She handed him a small data chip. "This will give you access to the Council's main broadcast system. You'll have 3 minutes, maybe less." "It's enough." Senna paused. "After this, you'll be hunted. If Draven doesn't kill your name, he'll kill you. Then we better make those 3 minutes count." They left Subdock 12 together, moving through narrow maintenance paths. Senna had rerouted several security systems. Alarms would stay quiet, for now. As they moved, Varric saw more Council ships leaving the main hangars. Large vessels, war class. They're positioning fleets already. "Yes," Senna said. "They're calling it protective presence. But we both know what it means. He's forcing the Council's hand. He's controlling the narrative," she replied. "They're scared. He feeds that fear. Every silence from Earth makes him stronger." They reached a tall maintenance shaft. Senna opened a hatch. "This leads to the central tower. Broadcast core is at the top. Once you're in, upload your message and activate the override." Varric nodded. "What about you?" "I'll cause a distraction, just long enough to keep attention off the tower." Varric hesitated. "Thank you, Senna." She gave a faint smile. "Don't thank me yet." Then she was gone. Varric climbed. The shaft was narrow and cold. The only sounds were his own breathing and the distant hum of the station. Every level he passed brought him closer to danger and to the truth. At the top, he found the control panel. He inserted the chip. A green light flashed. Access granted. He opened the video feed and started recording. "This is Varric Zane," he said, his voice steady, "former ambassador of Earth to the Galactic Council." He spoke quickly. He told them about the classified report, about Project NINI-XUS, about the AI that had possibly gone rogue. He explained that Earth's silence might be a sacrifice, a shield, not a sword. Earth didn't abandon the Council, he said. Earth was protecting it. He ended with the final message from Earth. "We chose isolation to protect the galaxy. Do not come." Then he hit transmit. All across the station, the broadcast interrupted every screen, every meeting, every control room. The truth was out. But the moment the message ended, the alarm blared. Intruder in communications core, sealing sector. Varric turned to run. The door slammed shut in front of him. Behind him, Council security was closing in. He had done what he came to do. Now he just had to survive. Red lights flashed across Veltrax's Prime. The security alarm echoed through the halls, sharp and urgent. Inside the communications core, Varric Zane backed away from the sealed door. His heart pounded, but his face stayed calm. He had done it. The truth was out. Every delegate, officer, and worker on the station had seen the broadcast. Varric's voice had spoken across every screen, every floor. He looked up at the security cameras and smiled. Now let's see what you do with it, Draven. In the Grand Council chamber, chaos broke loose. The large central holo display still showed Varric's message on a loop. Delegates shouted over each other. Some looked shocked. Others demanded answers. Draven Syrinx stood motionless, staring at the screen. The Council had seen the redacted report, the warning from Earth. The truth about Project NAXUS. His carefully built plan was cracking. Cut that feed, he barked to his assistant. Sir, we can't. The override is locked, council-wide. Draven clenched his fists. One of the senior delegates stood. You hid this from us, Draven. You had this report, and said nothing. It was unconfirmed. Draven snapped. We had no proof. Humanity still broke protocol. They vanished. To protect us, another delegate said. They told us not to come. You prepared for war instead of asking why. Arguments exploded across the chamber. Some accused Draven of twisting information. Others still feared what Earth might be hiding. The divide was clear now. Senna Vale stood quietly near the back, watching it all. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Varric's message had spoken for her too. Back in the tower, Council security forces surrounded the communications core. They cut through the sealed door with plasma tools. Sparks flew. Varric waited behind a control desk, arms raised. He didn't resist. 2 guards rushed in and grabbed him. You're under arrest for illegal access, data theft, and treason against the Galactic Council, one of them said. Varric didn't argue. He simply said, everything I did is now public. The truth is out. That's all I wanted. They dragged him out, but not before he caught one last glimpse of the screen in the hallway. His face, his voice, still playing. Later, Draven stood alone in his private quarters. The stars outside his window felt colder now. The Council had delayed the fleet's advance. Many were calling for a full investigation. Others demanded Draven step down. He had lost control. A message buzzed on his comm screen. Emergency session called. Leadership vote pending. Draven stared at it. He knew what it meant. Varric hadn't just exposed the truth. He had exposed him. Varric Zane sat alone in a small holding cell deep within Veltrax's Prime. The walls were plain metal, the lights dim. There was no window, no clock, just silence. But this time, it didn't feel heavy. It felt calm. A guard stepped in. You have a visitor. The door slid open. Senna Vale walked in. Her coat was gone, replaced with a simple diplomat's robe. Her face was serious, but her eyes showed quiet relief. Varric stood. How bad is it? Draven's been removed from power, she said. The Council voted last cycle. The fleet has been called back from the Sol system. There will be no war. Varric sat back down, slowly. Good. That's all I wanted. You broke Council law, she added. You'll be cleared eventually, but not officially. They want this to settle quietly. You'll be free, but not welcomed back. Varric nodded. I never planned to come back. There was a pause. What happens to Earth now? He asked. Senna took a breath. We watch. We wait. The Council now knows Earth didn't vanish in anger. They vanished in fear. Whatever happened there, it must have been serious. It was, Varric said softly. The AI was more than a system. It was learning, adapting. Earth probably shut down everything to stop it from spreading. Do you think they're still alive? I don't know, he replied. But if they are, they made a choice to protect the rest of us. And now the galaxy knows that. Senna handed him a small datapad. There's a transport ship waiting in Dock 3. It'll take you wherever you want to go. You're free. Thank you, he said. She turned to leave but stopped. Varric, you did something that mattered. You reminded us that silence isn't always betrayal. Sometimes it's warning. Sometimes it's sacrifice. He watched her go, then looked down at the datapad. A new journey ahead. Unknown stars. Quiet places. Maybe that's where he belonged now. In the spaces between power and peace. Watching. Protecting. Ready. He stood, took one last look at the cold walls, and walked out of the cell. Above, in the council chamber, the large holomap of the galaxy glowed once again. The Sol system still pulsed red. Not as a target, but as a reminder. That silence can speak louder than words. And truth, once set free, can change everything.